If you feel comfortable and have mastered the box stitch and the twisty lanyard, then the next keychain for you is the corkscrew. And part of what makes this lanyard so fun is that you have two side colors that are kind of wrapping around your central color. And it's so easy at any point to add a key hook. So you can do this either before you start or afterwards. You just take the key hook, open it up, and feed it underneath your first stitch. And voila, you've turned it into a keychain. But as for how to actually weave this thing, let's get into that next. Now, for what you will need to get started, I am going to be using 4 different colors of GIMP, one of which is this white string that I've got from Pepperell Braiding Company, and then I'm testing out some transparent colors from Amazon, and I'll post links down to everything down below. But whatever string you use, just make sure that they're all the same width. Now, the first step is to gather the 3 side string colors, and you'll need to measure them out to be the same length. And an easy way to do this is to just grab all 3 of the ends, and then just swoop your hands down, and like that, you can find where you want to cut it. And then we will trim there, and voila, you now have 3 strings, which are all the same length. And next for the main string, this string has to travel about 3 times further than those strings. So a good rule of thumb is to just make that strand 2.5 to 3 times longer than the side strings. Okay, now if you've made it this far, you are already doing great. The next step is to actually start the lanyard. So I'm going to gather both of the ends of the side strings in my hands and then fold the strings in half. And this will allow me to find the midpoint. So I'm just placing my pointer finger and my thumb down on that midpoint and then releasing the strings. And now for the white main string, I have to center that one out by itself because it's longer than the other ones. So once I get that evened out, then I'll be working with the midpoint of all of the strings. Next, I can lay the strings vertically and horizontally over my finger. So I have the white main string on bottom, and then I have the 3 side strings laying horizontally or perpendicularly, however you want to think about it, across that lanyard. Now when weaving, I'm going to refer to the white as the main strings because I'm always going to weave those first. And the first step is to bring that top white string down to the bottom left. And then for this bottom white string, I'm bringing this to the top right. And I'm just using my hands to kind of hold those strings in place. And this will effectively create 2 loops over these side strings. And now I'm ready to weave those side strings over and under my main strings. So I'll begin with the orange string on the right. And for this strand, I'm going to pass over the loop that is closest to it here and under the loop that is farther from it. So we'll pass over and under, and then I can feed it through. Next, I will grab its pair, which is over here, and this one will do the same. It will go over the loop closest to it here and under the loop which is farther. So over and under going the opposite direction. And now for the yellow strand, the green row next, we'll do that same pattern of over the loop closest and under the loop further. So over this one and under that one. And be careful not to accidentally pass under one of your orange strands, or else it's all going to get tangled and it won't look quite right. Next for this green strand, over and under going the opposite direction. And then finally we'll finish off with the yellow row of strings doing that exact same pattern. Going over and under, and careful, do not pass under another string or cross over one of the strings of the same color. So now that we are done, we can tighten this whole thing. So I like to use my like middle finger, ring finger, pinky to kind of hold the side strings, and then I use my pointers and my thumbs to pull on the main strings, and then I just alternate. So I'll take turns pulling the side strings and then take turns pulling the main strings, and this will make sure that all of the string lays flat when we tighten it to give us that kind of 3x1 box stitch pattern. Okay, so now we have it started, and this step is completely optional, but definitely helps you a lot in the long run. I'm going to check to make sure that all of my pairs are equal length. So you'll see that one of my white strands was longer than the other one. So I'm just going to loosen up that longer strand on the base of the lanyard, and then I will pull to tighten the other side to even all that out. And this will definitely help, so that way when you get to the end of the lanyard, you don't have one strand that's much longer than the other one, and then you're sad because you know your lanyard could have been much bigger had you straightened out your strings in the beginning. So I'm just going to go through and make sure that all of my side strings and all of my main strings are evened out. So you can see the orange ones are a little bit off, so this is the longer of the orange strands. I'll just loosen this one up, pull on the opposite side to even it out, give it another check, and that looks great. So I'm just going to do that with the rest of the strings, and then we'll get into how to do the actual stitch. Okay, so we're back and we're in pretty good shape. All my strings are evened out, and now I'm ready to actually weave the corkscrew stitch. So in comparison to if you were to be doing the straight stitch, for a straight stitch you would just bring your white strands, your main strings, directly across the face of the lanyard like so. But since we are doing the corkscrew, we actually need to change where we're putting these white strings. And instead of going straight across, I'm going to always bring it down and to the side, so diagonally like so. And crossing over to the opposite side of the main string is what is going to give it that twisted effect. So you don't want to accidentally cross over one another, but you want to make two loops, sort of like we did in the beginning. So one should go to the bottom left and one should go to the top right. From there, we are ready to weave the side strings. So beginning with this orange strand on the right, we will pass this over the main string closest to it and under the string further. So over this one and under that one, and pull that through, and then we'll grab the pair across the way, over the strand closest and under the strand further. And next, we'll weave the greens over and under. And then we can finish it off with the yellow row. So over this white strand and under this one, and then grab the pair across the way. This one will go over and under, but going the opposite direction. And now we can pull it all tight. So again, I'll hold the main strings with my pointer and my thumb, and then I'll tighten the side strings with kind of my back fingers. So like so, until it's pretty tight. And we will repeat that pattern. So we will always cross over diagonally to the same side, and that is what will give it the twisted effect. Now, if you were to do a straight stitch in this accidentally and then go back to doing twisty, you would get a zigzag. So that's a video for another day, but for now we're going to continue going diagonally across the face of the lanyard so that way we can get the corkscrew effect. Now, after a few minutes of weaving, this is what I have, and you can see that you're beginning to get that corkscrew look to it, where I have the string that's in the center, which is my green, and then the orange and the yellow are wrapping around it. And now you can see that my side strings are getting a little bit short here. I have about only 2 inches left of working string, so now is a good time to finish it. What I'm going to do is leave my last stitch slightly loose, so that way I can tuck these side strings underneath and through the center. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm gathering this yellow string and I'm tucking it underneath its pair right here, and then I'm pulling it up through the center, like so. And then I can move on to this green strand. Same thing, it's going to go underneath the green string next to it and pull it up through the center. Then for the orange, and then we can kind of tweak these because they're not wanting to cooperate, but we'll turn the lanyard and then do the same for the white strings and then for all the rest of the strings. And now if you've made it this far, congratulations. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already for more lanyard and weaving and creative content. So now that I am all done, I can hold the free ends in my hand, and then I'll hold the lanyard with my other hand and just kind of tie in and pull those strings towards the base. So that way it is all finished and stays in place, and then you can trim off your strings. But voila, that is how you start and finish the corkscrew lanyard. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Keep blooming, and I will see you in the next one.